We will start now. I think today is the fourth edition of our webinars, African webinars. And I would like to thank Dr. Elwani. I will give him the floor to start the webinar. Thank you.
Good evening, everybody. We are talking from Cairo, which is around 8 o'clock, and I believe it is an excellent opportunity to meet the friends and the coaches. So before I start, I want to welcome everybody here, particularly our guest, Mark Lebedew, and he's a head coach, used to be a head coach of Australia, and the history he will introduce to you. Welcome Sherif, our CAVB instructor and president of Coaches Commission, and Mr. Ben Hamida, our Coaches Commission and director of African Academy, and of course Mr. Joel Matthew, our CAVB and FFB instructor, and he used to be the president of Namibia and even Ministry of Sport in Namibia, and he's one of our pillars in sport in Africa and volleyball. I'm very proud. Of course, I want to welcome everybody who are sharing in this fantastic job to give some technical and scientific information about coaching and experience to our coaches and players who will be a coach. So, of course, I'm passing this message to the National Federation President to encourage his coaches, not only the junior, no, the senior, because webinar is about exchange views, exchange idea, experiences. And I've been through a lot of these with top coaches who are interfering, interaction between them and discussing their methods. And of course, no one is perfect concerning science. And I believe that this experiment or experience we are giving to our coaches is really will help in future, and we hope it will continue. And I want you, Sherif, and the rest of the commission and all our technical people and in CAVB headquarters to continue, even on the national level. If any national federation want any descriptive or drills to teach their own national coaches, we should be ready. Even zonal, and I believe the zonal, we can conduct a fantastic Zoom webinar for each zone, but it has to be through the Coaches Commission, which we will have soon a good meeting. Okay, everybody have a nice evening. Enjoy the lectures, enjoy the information from our guests, and good luck all. And I believe it will be a lovely night. Good luck, everybody.
Thank you, Dr. Elwani, and for the nice speech. And also, I would like to welcome my brother, Mark Lebedew from Australia. And I would like to welcome also Mohammed bin Hamida, my brother, and the heart of development in Africa, my partner in developing volleyball in Africa and beach volleyball. Also, my brother, Joel Matthew from Namibia, and he is the member of Coaches Commission and also the African instructor. Also, our colleagues in CAVB, especially behind the screen, Mrs. Waidamondi, the executive director, and Mr. Tariq, the press officer. And with us here, we have Tariq Suleiman, the technician, and he's leading the webinar. Hisham also is assisting him, and Enzo is our developing department officer in Africa and in CAVB. I would like to start by saying one important thing, that this is the fourth webinar. In the beginning, we had one coach from Italy, and after working in Turkey, Giovanni Giudetti, and then we had Marco Berez for beach volleyball from Brazil, working in Spain, and after that we have the opportunity to have my friend Laurent Telly from France, the head coach of France, and now we have one of from my opinion, one of the good thinkers in volleyball, and I think he has a lot of things to give to African coaches, Mr. Lebedew, and I hope today we can start our journey with him. I think we will start to give him the floor to give us a brief about his CV, and then he will take around 1 hour as he wants. And after that, we will go to the questions and the answers. And Joel Matthew will join me to lead these questions and answers. During the presentation of Mark, Mr. Berhemeda will make a brief after each 10 minutes for 1 or 2 minutes in French, and then we will continue like this. And after the webinar, we will upload the video of the webinar on Facebook and YouTube by translating to the English to 3 languages, French and Portuguese and Arabic. I think we are on the way to help all coaches in Africa. And thank you very much for joining us. And now I will give the floor to Mr. Mark to start. Thank you.
Okay. So I just tried to share my screen, and it's not able. The host has disabled the sharing. If I can. Okay. I will.
Everybody to mute the microphone, please.
No problem. Okay. Okay, so we have the screen now. Thank you for the kind introduction, Mr. President and Sherif. I'm really happy to be here and to have this opportunity to speak with my African colleagues and hopefully in the future friends. So the title of the webinar, getting the most out of practice, really could be anything about practice, but that's the theme. So some small information about me, my experience. So I started working with the Australian national team before the Sydney Olympics. So I was the assistant coach at the Sydney Olympics, and then became the head coach in 2017 at a lot of different events and meeting many times against African teams. As a club coach, I've been in Europe for nearly 20 years now in 4 different countries, and with some very good success, I think. I will say now I have some social media, some internet presence, a blog that you can see the URL, and on Facebook and Twitter at Home on the Court. So you are welcome to check those things out. So the reason that I chose the topic of practice is that for me, practice is the most interesting part of coaching. The techniques, of course, are important, and how we prepare physically, and the tactics and so on. But for me, the exciting part of volleyball is how we practice and how we can get our ideas about volleyball to playing the game. And this is reason that we practice, and this is the thing that's the most interesting, the most exciting for me. So firstly, before we begin with the team, we have to have we can call it the vision of how we want to play, how we imagine the game is played. And I've seen a presentation from Julio Velasco, and I've had the same thought that in the head of the coach is a video of a game that's being played, and the video of the perfect game. And this is the picture that we have to start with. So maybe now's a good moment for the translation.
Voilà, donc bonsoir tout le monde. Donc là, notre coach Mark Lebedew a fait une petite introduction sur sa biographie. Donc vous pouvez la lire. Donc il est actuellement en Europe, ça fait plus de 20 ans qu'il est en Europe. Il a été head coach australien. Il a fait pas mal de résultats, pas mal de très très bons résultats, je dirais d'excellents résultats. Et donc revenir au webinaire de ce soir. Donc le titre c'est Getting the most out of practice, c'est-à-dire tirer le meilleur profit de la pratique du volleyball. Donc dans ce sens, on sait que il y a la préparation physique, la préparation technique, etc. Mais pour Marc, le plus important et le plus excitant, c'est de savoir comment pratiquer, comment jouer, comment être sur le terrain, comment tirer profit des leçons. Donc, ça pourrait faire une vision. Donc, ça pourrait être une vision de comment faire la pratique du volleyball. Donc, enfin, il a pris aussi des données qu'avait introduit auparavant Velasco. Voilà. Mark.
So I will explain some ideas that I have about volleyball, some theory, if you will. Then I have 2 videos of some training, or it was actually a seminar where I was a presenter, and it was a show training. And if we were together in the gym, this is the way that I would do it. And you can, so there first will be some theory, and then we can see some practice. I should say I'm very happy to ask any question, to answer any questions. So if you have any questions, write them down, make the notes on Facebook or in the chat or Q&A here, and the moderators will pass them on to me at the different times. So, and if I'm talking too fast, also please stop me or slow me down. So I start with the most important parts of volleyball. And for me, the most important skill in volleyball is reading. And volleyball is reading. A lot of people will say that volleyball is technical, but for me, the most important skill in the game is reading. And as coaches, we have to teach the players, or to help the players learn how to read. It's not enough that we say to them, you must read, you must read, you must read, but we have to explain to them and help them to understand how to read. The first part of that is how we see the situations in the game, and what this means, what the players are looking at, where their eyes are, and the very specific focus on what they are looking at. This is the first part of reading. The second is the decisions that we make after we see what is happening in the game. And decisions and as a coach, we can provide some options. If we see A, then we have option B, X, Y, Z, and so on. But we need to encourage the players to be able to make their own decisions. And lastly, in this part is how we then transform what we see into our decisions and how we respond quickly. And this is something that we'll talk about, will come up a few times, is the difference between technical errors and decision-making errors. And a lot of the time, when players make some mistakes, we think of them as being the technical error, that the player is not good enough at reception or setting or whatever the skill is, and we want to practice the movement or the ball contact. But really, the mistake that the player has made is in one of the reading things that we have here. So what they were looking at, how they decided, and then the technique comes after that. Mohamed?
Yeah. Donc il aimerait bien partager avec nous deux aspects. Donc un aspect théorique et un deuxième aspect. Donc il y a quelques vidéos qu'il va partager avec nous. Autre chose, donc il sera très content et très heureux de recevoir vos questions, même à travers ces sites, donc Facebook, Twitter, etc. Donc, la première approche, c'est qu'on dit que le volleyball est un sport technique, donc c'est basé sur la technique. Pour lui, le volleyball, c'est la lecture. Donc, ça, c'est très important. Et le problème, ce n'est pas de dire à l'athlète qu'il faut lire ou il faut savoir lire, mais c'est beaucoup plus que pour lui inculquer. Donc, c'est une compétence à apprendre. Donc, alors, il y a trois aspects où il y a trois phases. Donc, la première phase, c'est comment on voit la situation, donc comment on la voit avec nos yeux, donc avec notre comportement, comment l'athlète il la juge, il la voit. Et donc, le deuxième pilier, ce sont les décisions qu'on va prendre. Donc, par rapport à cela, donc, il faudrait favoriser plus d'une option. Donc, il va revenir sur ça. Et puis, le troisième volet, c'est beaucoup plus comment répondre techniquement à cette situation. Alors, le plus important dans cette histoire, c'est que il a mis l'accent sur on va dire une approche de technique contre mauvaise prise de décision ou des erreurs de prise de décision. Généralement, quand il y a une erreur, donc on dit que l'athlète, le joueur, techniquement n'était pas au top, qu'il ne pouvait pas répondre techniquement par rapport à des lacunes. Mais en général, le problème il se situe ailleurs. Donc le problème, c'est une réponse, ou plutôt c'est une décision qui a été mal prise par rapport à la situation qu'on a analysée. Marc.
Then we can talk about tactics, and tactics really simply is how we work together, how the players work together to achieve the team outcome. And when coaches talk about tactics, they have in their mind how we block, how we receive, how we organize the attack, and so on and so on. But really, simply all the tactics come back to the same idea, which is how we work together. And this is a really important concept because volleyball is the ultimate team sport. Firstly, is that no player can ever hold the ball. So I remember seeing one time that somebody did some study about one player at the Olympic Games, and I don't remember the player. Maybe it was Jiba or Reed Priddy or someone like this, that for the whole Olympic Games, 8 matches, gold medal, he was touching the ball for 3 minutes in all of this time. No player, except for the serve, ever holds the ball, which means that no player can control the ball, can control the game. Even the setter, even the setter only touches the ball one time every 3 actions, and other players for sure less, maximum one time every 3 actions. And so every player must be for the team to function, for the tactics to function. Every player must be 1 or 2 or 3 steps ahead of where the ball is in that moment. Mohamed?
Donc, le premier aspect, donc, c'est l'aspect tactique. Et donc, définitivement...
ممكن محمد brief, hein? أسرع شوية. Okay, شكرا.
Donc, par rapport à cela, donc, on peut parler de bloc, on peut parler de service, de réception, de système, etc. Mais définitivement, la tactique, donc, c'est un travail d'équipe. Et définitivement, le volleyball est un sport d'équipe. Donc, on doit penser en équipe. Et comme c'est le volleyball, c'est un sport où on touche le ballon, on le retient pas. Donc, c'est très important. Il a donné l'exemple il ne se rappelle pas, mais peut-être que c'était Shiba, dans une finale des Jeux Olympiques, où il n'a touché le ballon que pendant 3 minutes. Donc, et on sait pertinemment que le passeur, par exemple, il touche le ballon 1 fois sur 3. Donc, c'est très, très important de dire que c'est un sport typiquement d'équipe. Et donc, il faudrait que tout un chacun soit vraiment prêt pour justement, on va dire, prendre l'initiative ou prendre son action, c'est-à-dire, on va dire, plutôt être actif pour la prochaine action. Mark.
For tactics to work effectively, whatever it is that you want to do, whatever you want to do in block and defense or attack, all the players have to understand what their role is, what they must do in every moment of the game. Not only at the moment of the serve, but not only at the moment of the attack, but at the moment when the other player attacks, or when the ball is traveling over the net, or when the setter is moving. Everybody has a different action and must understand what that role is. And this is different. Understand is different from doing what the coach told me to do. So another line from Velasco that I like is that the coach cannot be the brain of the players telling them what to do every time, but the coach must help the players to understand what they have to do. When you can understand, then you can reach a much higher level. And what we already talked about this, that the players have to read the game in the same way, to decide the same thing at the same time, because they understand the game at the same way, and then act technically, some cases tactically, together, each according to their role.
Donc pour effectivement être performant, donc les joueurs doivent comprendre réellement leur rôle. Et ils doivent comprendre aussi ce qu'ils doivent faire, non seulement individuellement par rapport à leur propre action, mais aussi par rapport à l'interaction avec les autres joueurs, avec ses partenaires et voire même avec son adversaire. Donc, c'est totalement différent, le fait de comprendre, c'est totalement différent de ce qu'ils doivent prendre comme consigne de leur entraîneur. Donc, ce sont 2 concepts différents. Et là, il revient à une philosophie de Velasco quand Velasco dit que l'entraîneur n'est pas le cerveau de l'athlète, du joueur, mais il est là pour l'aider à être performant. Marc.
Of course, like everything, the key for developing tactics is in practice. And we have to practice tactics. Tactics means playing together. And in all of the components, reading, understanding, decisions, we have to practice those things. And this is a really important concept for me, and maybe this is the most important concept, is that you can't do this step by step. The idea, the coaches, and it's not only coaches, everywhere in life, you see that people will want to work on small blocks, and they want to build a house like this. Start with block A, block B, block C, and then afterwards you can start to see a house. But the team building concept, the tactics, understanding the game, it can't work step by step, at least not this kind of step. You have to play the game to learn the game, which means you have to do everything at the same time. And one way that we can talk about this is one concept is to work globally.
Donc là, on revient à cet aspect du développement tactique. Donc le développement tactique, il est basé déjà sur la lecture. Et donc, on ne peut pas faire un travail tactique au pas à pas. Donc, en saccadé, comme on le fait, par exemple, quand on veut développer des qualités techniques. Donc, il faudrait que ce travail tactique soit un travail d'équipe et soit un travail global et en même temps. Donc, la globalité, enfin, le volleyball global, comme on le dit. Et la meilleure façon de travailler cet aspect tactique, cet aspect tactique, c'est justement la pratique et le jeu.
At this moment, I will do a very little bit of the theory of learning, and I hope that you know some of these theories. But the first one is blocked and distributed practice. So blocked practice, maybe we can also call technical or analytic practice. Distributed practice is synthetic or global and global. This is one concept. Another concept is one called constraints-led learning. This is also called game sense. And this is another one, the optimal theory of motor learning, which looks at where you focus when you are learning. And I won't explain all of these, but there is a lot of overlap, so a lot of similarities between these. And in my practice that you will see in a short time, I hope that you will see some of these things. And if you want to look a little bit more, this YouTube clip is from some colleagues of mine, and they did one really good 1 hour explanation of some of these concepts.
Donc là, il vient de mettre en place donc, quelques concepts d'apprentissage, donc de la théorie au niveau de la tactique. Donc, il y a le... can come back, Mark? Just keep the slide, please.
Sorry.
The slide.
Yes.
So, donc il y a trois aspects dans cet apprentissage. Donc, il y a un aspect, on va dire, technique, analytique ou synthétique et global, donc le travail global. Donc, il y a un autre donc c'est un apprentissage en bloc. Il y a une deuxième façon, donc c'est travailler par contrainte, donc c'est donner du sens au jeu. Et donc, le troisième, donc c'est beaucoup plus moteur, donc c'est beaucoup plus la mise on va dire, en évidence du travail de concentration et d'attention. Donc là, il y a un lien pour une vidéo où donc on a le lien, on peut le voir peut-être plus tard. Et là, donc, il donne beaucoup plus de détails sur ce concept d'apprentissage. Yeah, Marc.
we come to the main point, which is that for what I've talked about now, for how to get the most out of practice, we need to be spending most of the time with 6 against 6. If we don't have 12, then whatever we can manage, but the idea is to be 6 against 6. And there are two really, really important things to understand about this. When we are talking about 6 against 6 or gameplay, we are not just playing. It's not that when we are the coach, we come, we take the players in the court and give them the balls and say, you play. It's not like this. The coach is still deciding the structure, the focus, and the parts of the game that we will practice. The point is that the structure of the practice is 6 against 6. The second thing is that as a coach, we don't have to make a decision, do we do technical practice or game practice? We can do them both at the same time. So technical practice, so when we practice 6 against 6, we are also practicing with technique. We are practicing all of our skills. We are practicing all of the small parts. And this is one thing that the coach has to also be talking about, so that the players also understand that we are not only playing.
Donc, la meilleure pratique et la pratique la plus effective, donc, c'est de faire du jeu du 6 contre 6. Donc, même si vous n'avez pas les 12 joueurs, donc il faudrait essayer de trouver la meilleure façon pour justement faire un travail de 6 contre 6, un travail beaucoup plus complet, on va dire, ou global. Donc, le 6 contre 6 n'est pas seulement un jeu, donc n'est pas seulement une récompense. Donc, c'est une façon pensée pour préparer son équipe. Et donc, l'entraîneur, il doit prendre en considération la structure de ce jeu comme étant une phase de préparation de ses athlètes. Le deuxième paramètre, il ne faudrait pas séparer ou scinder ou travailler en bloc. On va dire que dans le 6 contre 6, vous allez donner quelques instructions bien précises. Non, il faudrait essayer de faire un travail globalement, donc un travail global. Pourquoi? Parce qu'il faudrait toujours favoriser ou plutôt protéger la structure de l'entraînement et les objectifs qui s'en suivent.
Some different ideas with 6 against 6. We have normal games and games where we change the rules, and changing the rules is one of the most important learning parts. Synthetic means that we start the game in some different point, so we are not always starting from a serve. Global is with the serve. Wash drills, I think we understand is a serve and some more balls after, some extra balls. And the mix, the combination of competition and not competition. So just because we have 6 against 6, it doesn't mean that we have to always have a competition. And I know, for example, speaking with the staff of Bernardino, that Bernardino has a lot of his practice that is not a competition. So they are doing repetitions in a 6 against 6 idea.
Donc, pour toujours le travail effectif en 6 contre 6, donc, on a le jeu complet, le jeu de volleyball, et on a ce qu'on appelle les jeux modifiés. Donc, en deuxième lieu, on a donc, dans le jeu toujours le synthétique et le global. Donc, en synthétique, donc, on prend des tranches ou des secteurs bien définis pour les travailler, ou carrément globalement. Le wash drills, donc le wash drill, c'est quand on fait un service et donc quand on fait suivre plusieurs ballons après ce service. Et donc le dernier format, donc c'est jouer sous forme compétitive ou non compétitive. Voilà. Yeah, Mark.
So the coach must, in his planning, after his review of the previous work, he has to decide what part of the game he wants to practice, and then that part of the game will be the focus of the instruction, the rules of the games, the conditions, etc., and of the feedback. So what I talk about is the condition for the first action. So in a lot of the non-competition drills especially, the ball will come in and the first action is attack from position 4, attack from first tempo, high ball. I will give the information what has to happen on the first action, and this is the thing that we are practicing. It's important where, when, how the ball comes into the game, from the coach, from the serve, from another player. All of these things make a difference. Can be the coach ball is the first contact and afterwards is a set. Can be that the coach ball is the second contact and the player has to play over the net. All of these are possible. Is it the type of contact? Is it a free ball? Is it a spike? Is it how makes a difference? And which part of the court, if it comes from over the net, from behind the court. And maybe one of the most important things for me is that whatever the condition at the beginning of the action, we always finish the rally. So in my practice, we never stop before the end of the rally. So we are always playing until the end, practicing transition, etc., etc. And every one of these small differences changes what the players learn and what they get from the drill, from the exercise.
Donc là, après avoir analysé la pratique, l'entraînement d'avant, donc l'entraîneur il doit préparer sa séance et on va dire son jeu, on l'a dit. Et donc là, il doit voir déjà les conditions de travail, les conditions de jeu. Et donc là, le premier truc, la première chose à faire, donc c'est voir peut-être le premier contact. Donc est-ce que c'est une attaque en poste 4, en pipe, etc., en poste 2, etc. Donc là, ensuite, il faudrait voir où et quand et où et comment le ballon va rentrer dans le jeu, c'est-à-dire on va dire donc, un jeu dirigé, donc par où le ballon va rentrer et sur quelle forme. Donc ça c'est très important. Ensuite on doit voir donc le premier aspect, est-ce que ce sont des ballons qui vont venir d'un service, d'un premier contact, d'un deuxième contact. Donc quels sont les types de contacts qu'on a mis en place. Et donc, quelles sont les positions d'entrée? Donc, est-ce que c'est l'entraîneur qui fait rentrer un ballon d'un endroit donné, du fond ou du côté latéral, par peut-être son assistant? Et donc, le plus important, ce qu'il faudrait retenir, c'est qu'il ne faudrait jamais arrêter un rallye. Donc, le rallye, il faut aller jusqu'au bout. Donc, quand on a commencé, on n'arrête pas jusqu'à ce que le ballon touche le sol. Yeah, Mark.
The first thing that we'll talk about, and there will be a longer video coming very shortly, I will stop talking in a moment, is the competition without practice. The practice without competition. And this is some kind of repetition practice. If this is the moment that a player can spike 5 balls in a row, or the blockers make 5 actions in a row, remembering that we always finish the action. And the important part of this is that the players should have the opportunity to explore, to experiment with their skills, with their decisions, and how they make different solutions without the pressure of the score or the coach shouting or like this. And this is I learned from speaking with my players that they play differently if there is a score and if there is not a score. So I want them to learn, to push, and to find new solutions whenever we have the possibility. The other part, and we'll see in the video in a few seconds, that we can also repeat. I shouldn't write errors here, I should write situations, because sometimes if I want to explain the organization, who should play which ball, how the block should move, then I want to repeat the action, do more and more of these. In the beginning of the time working with a team, maybe the drill can take a very long time. We will put in more and more balls, but okay, forget that last part. You don't understand, haven't seen the drill yet. So let's, Mohamed, go.
Yeah. Donc là pour la pratique, on va dire l'entraînement non compétitif. Donc il y a cet aspect de répétition. Donc il faut donner, il faut faire beaucoup de répétitions pour justement ancrer ces aspects-là chez l'athlète. Le deuxième aspect qui est très très important, c'est qu'il faudrait laisser la liberté à l'athlète d'explorer et d'expérimenter peut-être de nouveaux gestes, peut-être de nouvelles compétences. Et il ne faut pas le mettre sous pression. Donc, et pour justement essayer d'éviter au maximum les erreurs. Donc, et le troisième aspect, donc au lieu de dire on répète les erreurs, mais beaucoup plus, donc il faudrait répéter les situations. Donc, quand on dit situation, on parle, je sais pas, situation de combinaison d'attaque, de structure de bloc, etc. Voilà, et donc il va faire passer une vidéo. Yeah,
okay, so now we have the video. This is, as I said, this is the video part of this presentation. So it's me working with one team and also explaining to the participants what they are seeing, what I am trying to do. So the sound is maybe not perfect, but we tested this the other day, and you should be able to see it. And
Mark, please.
You can see.
Excuse me, Mark. You should. Okay, because you should leave the presentation. Now it's okay. It's okay. Great.
Okay, and I will start.
High ball 4. Inside. Nice hit. One more. Position 4. Good. Okay, he's made an error. I want to repeat the same action, so he has a chance to make the same ball. Good, set. Yes. It's position 6, being somewhere where he's not supposed to be. Okay, we missed the defensive opportunity, so we're going to replay the rally from his first contact. After that, you're free to do whatever you want. Perfect ball, and play. Yeah, same ball, repeat the first tempo. Nice. Ooh, okay. Let's change here, front back. So we don't have the same guys hitting all the time. Oh, you don't have another position 4? Let's take another position 4 from the other side, just change. Okay, let's go to the same one from position 4. High ball. Nice, yeah. Okay, all right, one more. Okay, so that's the first condition, one condition that we can have. The next condition, if there's anything that you want to try. So we're still working a little bit on attack. We'll do first tempo now. So first tempo with only one block. Yep. Let's work at being a little bit more space with the setter. Oh. Same thing again. Nice ball. One more. Let's go block it. You know it's coming, you've got to block him. There we go. Okay, so there's the next condition. Let's do a fast ball to position 2. So you can, yeah. Okay, so this one will be, look, the first action we'll do single block. Okay, one block, we defend against one block. Go.
1-1.
And the next one.
1-1.
Yes. Good cover. One more. Wait. Okay, we have one block and we work 2 blocks. So when we have one block, we're obviously practicing setting and spiking. The feedback for this blocker will be his reading of the spiker. So I can give him now feedback on his how he looks at the spiker when he changes his eye direction, where he looks, okay, because we're always talking about decision making. Now we have 2 blocks, so the middle blocker is practicing also his footwork and he's practicing his hand position. Okay, so it's what we want here, 2 blocks. Yep. Okay, and of course the spiker's practicing spiking against 2 blocks. Here we go. You know it's 2 blocks, all right? Let's go. Let's crush one here. There we go. That's it. All right, perfect. Okay. What's another condition that we can practice? Yeah, let's practice pipe. Guys are all over it. All right. We do the first one. You can run the first tempo, but you don't have to. Well, the first one is one blocker, only the middle. Oh, okay, I saw the defense pretty not moving there, so we play from the first action. Go. Wait. That was too easy. It was a ball that he didn't go for in defense, so if I throw it straight to him, this ball's not sticking. So go. Yes. And go. All right, so what are we up to? This time 5. This time it's 2 blocks. But you guys decide which 2. The best way to do it is if you don't tell him. Yep. Again. After a while they work out some kind of hand signal, it's a little bit quicker. Oh, had a fake block. There's a net touch there, but we'll keep playing. Play. Good. Having said that, we stop for net touches. We won't. So the next one. Let's have this change sides. So right now we've got some simple things. He always wants to spike. Okay, so now we can start to practice some tactics. So the first tactic that I want to practice is when the setter's moving back, the normal reaction is that position 4 moves back with the setter, which means normally that the middle blocker moves because there's a gap space, and the setter sets to position 4, 1 against 1, or he sets first tempo into a seam. So I want to practice that position 4 stays in that position when the setter moves back. The middle stays, position 4 stays. So I'm going to put the ball in where he has to move back, and he can set whatever he wants for now. But the specific feedback now is for the blockers. I tricked him by making it perfect. Yes, yes. Good. Play. I keep waiting for them to miss some play during the rally that I can repeat to give in some teaching moment, but they keep not missing anything. Hopefully, somebody will go to sleep in a minute and I'll be able to show you the next thing on the list. I'd love to coach this team, brother coach. Good. Okay, next condition. I'm going to get him eventually. We'll get the ball at the 3-meter line. The setter can choose what he wants. Now the work is for the middle blocker to read. Okay, I want the middle blocker to read, and we go back to the very first point. We have to be specific about what we want the middle blocker to look at. What do you have to look at? That's a pretty good answer. Is there a better answer? 100 coaches, probably one of you knows the answer. Obviously you're all shouting out, but I can't hear. The answer is to watch the setter's hands. So we get it caught into a lot of the time. We tell the players to read. What we have to do is tell them what to look at so that they can then read. So middle blockers all blockers should be watching specifically the setter's hands, watching for where he makes the movement, because every setter in the world will change their hand position where they want to set forward, back, first tempo. Really good setters, the change is small. I reckon probably guys should be able to reach it. Sorry. Okay, but that's what we're watching. All blockers. So here we go. We're at 3 meters. Alright, I got to get something. So it's the defender not going for the ball. Let's go. Just get it. Stop. So when we do this kind of repetition to repeat one mistake, we're also giving information on who should have played that ball. Okay, so we put the ball in and everybody gets ready, but the feedback that we're giving is not only to the individual player, it's to the group about who has to play the ball, has to have played the ball. Alright, in this case, position 1 needs to have played this ball, so he has to play the repeat action. So we're reading now. Watch his hands and go. Okay, let's repeat this high ball. So I'll put the ball over for first contact to play in the same position. No, stop. So I want to repeat. Normally I would have another coach over there, but so here, please. So play the first ball to the same place. There we go. Good. Okay, in the middle blocker, in the rally, did you watch the setter's hands again? Great work. One more. Watch the setter's hands. Oh. Okay, here he's made a deliberate error to give me a chance to repeat the action again. I was a little eye signal between the two of us, you guys didn't see. Yes. One important point when we're working with the middles on reading the setter is that the feedback that we give, the way that we organise the rally, the way that we organise the feedback is that all of the feedback should be on whether he makes a correct read. One of the problems, I shouldn't speak through the net. One of the issues that we'll have is that when we play, players are thinking about the outcome. And we have to make sure that the feedback stays with the action that we want to stay. So in this, we're playing, even if we're not scoring, he still wants to make a block, and so he's still going to try and beat the setter for the speed. So we can set up, in this case, a scoring system that's not competition, but it's just that he has to make 5 reads in a row. If he misses one read, if he jumped on the first tempo like the one before, then we go back to 0. So that the feedback, even though we're playing volleyball, the feedback is on the specific technical component that we want to practice. So let's go we'll do another action here. This time the condition is the setter can play either first tempo or back. And I want 2 blockers on both balls. Okay? So I know this guy's smart, so the first thing that he's told the middle is I want you to run the long quick, right? Yeah, okay. So it's not my first rodeo. So then, okay, normally we let him do 1 and then we say, okay, you can only play the close, quick and back. I think the coach of this team should be making this presentation, not me. So first tempo, front or back, or behind. 2 blockers. And we have to have 3 actions in a row with with both blockers. That's 1. Yeah. Okay, I want to repeat this high ball set. So I'll give it to you. You play it out here, and I want you to bump set the ball, a good ball. Okay? All right, blockers have 2. They need 3 in a row. Play. Never stop playing. Okay, here. The feedback that I would be giving when the players are finished, I always let the players discuss the rally that's just happened. because this is part of it. They have to be understanding the same thing and how they work together. Can you guys move? Because I need to... I've broken about 7 rules of communication here, but... so the interactions, the exchange of information, the communication between the rallies by the players is really important, because what they're talking about, presumably, is what just happened, what they saw, how they need to react together. In the end, this is what they have to do. This is what they have to do, and not me. The exact feedback that I was going to give, so let's try to set this up. So go back to the positions over there. Okay, so pretty sure, if I remember rightly, the opposite was here, playing the first ball. Am I right? Okay, so the feedback I would be giving my team is that they need, all of the blockers need to recognise that the opposite, or position 2, is no longer in the attack. And so my middle blocker, my position 4 blocker can move, my middle blocker can move, that we create a different, advantageous situation on this side for us. So, as an example of the feedback I would be giving here. All right, let's do this time. Let's change sides again. Sorry. The new balls are... This time we're going to practice the long quick that we wanted to practice before, but the condition is long quick and ball to position 4. What do you guys call it? 31? 31? 31 and position 4. Same thing, three correct reads in a row. One. Without the net touch, gentlemen. That's 2. Good. Okay. This is my main, this drill and the 1,000 variations of it is my main teaching drill. This is the drill that I use to teach volleyball, to teach those things that are on the first part of the notes. There are more or less infinite variations, and it's all, the key point is the condition that you apply on the first action and the feedback that you give during the rally. Sorry, the feedback you give on what happens in the rally. The feedback includes the balls that you repeat, which balls you choose to repeat, and how you set up that situation. It's repeating technical actions, it's repeating decision-making situations, reading.
And that's the first video. So guys, I see that there's a lot of questions backing up. Do we want to answer some of those questions now, or shall I go on to the next part?
So just if you can allow me, please, that there is,
yes.
Yeah, it was an issue with the video. It was freezing somehow. So we had a minute, but we can encourage people that said that we will share the video, and in the same time we will also translate them. So it's not a big deal. It will come with the YouTube record. Okay.
Martin, can you please? It's possible to have it on link. Then they can reach it after we finish. I mean, we can share
I can send you these two. I can send you these two clips. Yes. No problem.
No problem. Okay, thank you very much.
Et donc pour la traduction, donc translation, donc pour la traduction, donc ce qu'on a vu en général dans cette vidéo, c'est l'aspect pratique. Et donc il y a eu des situations où donc on n'arrêtait pas le rallye, mais par contre on pouvait commencer le rallye par rapport dans une situation donnée, à la première touche en défense par exemple. Donc ça c'est un premier aspect. Deuxième aspect, c'est qu'il y avait différentes orientations par rapport au bloc, donc à 1, à 2, et quand on a un bloc à 1, ce qu'il faudrait faire, etc. Et le plus important, c'est qu'il a posé des questions, si vous voulez, il voulait avoir le retour sur ce que voulaient faire ces athlètes, ces joueurs. Donc on peut leur donner la liberté de faire un choix. Donc c'est le deuxième point dans cette non-competitive practice. Il a donné un exemple qui est très très pertinent, c'est le passeur. Donc, il ne faudrait pas, quand il faut analyser, lire le passeur, il ne faudrait pas lire la gestuelle, le geste du passeur, parce que c'est le geste final, mais c'est tout ce qui vient avant. Voilà. Yamak.
Okay. So, this is the non-competitive part, and the point that I made at the end of the video clip was that that this is the main drill that I use in practice, and this is the difference is in what the condition is for the first contact or for the first action or the second action. This is the focus of practice, but the format, the structure, the organization is the way that you saw it. I can make some changes by how the ball comes in. The first one, you can put the ball over the net, for example, instead of playing directly to the setter. This one is a better option, but it takes a little bit longer time. But this is a really big part of my practice always. Mohammed?
Donc, pour Marc, la plus grande partie de son travail se situe à ce niveau, donc à l'aspect du jeu non compétitif. Donc, c'est un aspect, on va dire, saccadé. Et donc, là, ça lui prend beaucoup de temps, déjà pour préparer. Et en plus, donc, il essaye de prendre globalement toutes les actions de jeu. Donc, il essaye de les inculquer. Et tout dépendra maintenant des orientations, tout dépendra on va dire des notifications et aussi de sa façon, de là où il est positionné et d'où il envoie le ballon. Donc voici en gros. Et puis bon, après on va essayer de traduire les vidéos. Donc vous aurez les vidéos avec une transcription et comme ça on comprendra mieux. Yeah, Mark.
Okay. Okay, competitive practice is the second part. This is competition where we score, where two teams more or less are playing against each other. And for me, I always have, I almost never play first six against second six. So I'm always changing the teams to make the competition as close as possible. In the perfect practice, the difference between the teams is always 2 points if you can organize the team correctly. Because I want that the score is close, because the more pressure there is in practice, the closer we have to the game situation. We can also, and we must also set the tasks, the conditions in the same as the first practice. So this can be with the first ball or the second ball that we can, after serve reception, we have to play from position 4. After serve reception, we have to play first tempo pipe can be like this, or with the second or third ball must be some condition also. The other part that I use a lot, and I think is very important part, is bonus points when we score. So this is for some action that happens in the rally. So for example, if we have a first tempo after defense, then this always scores a point, whatever the other scoring is. Or it can be anything. One other one is to, when we cover the block and score directly, can be an extra point. Okay, Mohamed.
Donc là, on passe au deuxième aspect de la préparation. Donc c'est la pratique. Please Mark the slide, please. Donc la pratique compétitive. Et donc dans cette pratique compétitive, Mark ne travaille jamais, quand on travaille deux équipes face à face, il n'a jamais travaillé le 6 principal, enfin les rentrants et les 6 remplaçants. Donc à chaque fois, il combine les deux équipes de sorte à laisser une différence de 2 à 3 points. Donc dans chaque set. Et là, le travail là, il est concentré sur un travail de pression, c'est-à-dire les athlètes travaillent sous pression. Ça, c'est très important. Donc, il faudrait les mettre sous pression. Le deuxième aspect, donc il faudrait définir des tâches pour un groupe de joueurs ou pour le bloc, globalement pour tous les joueurs ou pour un secteur donné. Donc, il faudrait aussi mettre en place des conditions de pratique. Et donc, le dernier point, donc c'est ce qu'on appelle les points bonus. Donc, les points bonus sont donnés à une action dans le rallye. Donc, par exemple, ils ont fait, mon équipe a fait un bon soutien. Ils ont récupéré le ballon, ils ont marqué. Donc là, on leur donne 2 ou 3 points. Donc, ça dépend. Voilà. Yeah, Mark.
Okay. I have now I had planned to make a video now, but perhaps if there is a problem with the video, we can pass this, and I will give it to you for the presentation that's shared afterwards. Is that okay, Sherif?
I think you can share the video now. I mean, or we will watch the video because some of us can watch it very good, and later you can share it with the link. Okay?
No problem. We can do.
All right, so we have 5 minutes. No problems for the whole second section. The next part, and there's an infinite combination of stuff you can do with that. Whatever tactics you want, whatever situations you want, you can do it in this form, I believe. The next part is the competition. The one thing that we haven't done anything about is, there's one thing we haven't done anything about is side out or serve or reception. So we've done a lot of playing volleyball and attack and block. So the second part of my practice is a wash drill, I guess is the easiest way to describe it. So let's get to our 6 against 6. You guys can serve. The first one that we're going to do, I'll just do 5 random wash drills off the top of my head. So it will be serve and a free ball to the receiving team. The receiving team needs both balls to get the point. Second ball. All right, 1-0. Rotate. Okay, the second one, the side out team needs to score a high ball to win the point. Go. Oh, wait. shoulder. Serve again. That's a point for the serving team, 2-0. Nice set. Inside. Second ball's a high ball for the opposite. Set of sets. Okay, it's a point here, but I want to repeat this action because I can always repeat the action. In my team, I prefer when the set is front that the middle blocker takes the free ball that's short to position 2. Okay, I want the opposite to hit. So we'll repeat. Okay, that was a non-scoring ball. That's a teaching moment. So it's a rotation. It's 1-2. This team serving. Okay, the next one, the second ball is a ball at the 3-meter line for the setter to set what he wants. Okay, serve again. That's 2-2. Okay, second ball, 3-meter line, setter's choice. Middles are watching the hands, giving technical feedback also. Out, wash. So this side rotate and serve, still 2-2. The next one. Next one, the side out team has to score 2 balls. Second. Third. All right, point, rotation. Yep. Okay. Can you please make a service error this time? I'm waiting for these guys to make mistakes so I can do some corrections, but they keep not making them. Okay, serve again. Because my practice, most days, but not all days, I do a lot of things different from everybody else. One of them is that I almost never have a blocked serve and reception practice. Little bits, 10 minutes here, 5 minutes there, but I very rarely do blocked serve and reception for a whole bunch of reasons that actually don't have time to go through. So in these games, I want that the receivers have the most possible opportunities to receive in combination with each other, so 3 players on the court. I want the servers to make their best serve, to have the freedom to make their best serve, because the first thing that happens in practice is there's a pressure on the server not to make a mistake, because the mistake breaks the drill down. It's much more important to make a good serve than for the drill to break down, whatever that means. And this is not a criticism, I coach professional world-class players who get to the drill and they make a 70% serve because they don't want to make an error and stop practice. So we normally have 2 chances to serve so that the server has practice and the receivers have practice that they don't otherwise get. We're on 2 balls for the side out team. Okay, free ball over the net. What's the objective of putting a free ball over the net? To put it to the center. Alright, so I wanted to put the other team under pressure in some way. Putting the ball in the middle of the court for me is not under pressure, and I can take a risk because I already lost the free ball. So this time you put the ball over somewhere where you can get an advantage. Oh, it's already planning stuff over there. Where you can get an advantage, yeah. I stopped the play, yes, very good. What was the mistake? Yeah, I meant for the coach, the 100 coaches. I know you know, because he just told you. Okay, the thing that we practiced 2 minutes ago, the setter's front, the middle blocker takes the ball to in position 2. Okay. What else? That was a serve over there. So serve again. It was a wash. 3-2. This time, it'll be a free ball to that team. It has to be first tempo, the free ball against 1 block. Okay, free ball, first tempo, 1 block. Point over there.
And we are back. Sorry, Mohammed, if you have something there.
It's okay. It's the same issue. So once we will get the video, so we will encrypt the translation. Donc quand on aura les vidéos, on va mettre en place l'encryptage de la traduction en entier. Yeah, Mark.
Mark, excuse me, Mark. How much time do you need to finish?
I have 1 more slide.
Okay, no problem.
2 more slides.
I think
So
we have only 10 minutes,
the time.
10 minutes, and then we will go to the question and answers. Okay, thank you.
We will be before 10 minutes. So one idea that we have about, or we have to understand about training is what I call the continuum, which means that when you add something to the practice, you also take something away, which means that when, if you are practicing reception, you are not practicing block. If you are practicing attack, you are not practicing, or you are practicing block, but you are not practicing serve. So you are always putting some, adding and taking away. Our next thing is that where the ball comes changes the time in between the actions. If you give the ball direct to the setter, the actions are faster. If you give the ball over the net, the actions are slower, etc. Some examples. So if you put in more balls, you have more conditioning, more repetitions, and more gameplay, but you have less specificity, less serve and reception, and less side out. If you have less extra balls, the opposite. You have less conditioning, less repetitions, less gameplay, but you have more specificity, more serve and more serve and reception.
So, donc, là pour cet aspect-là, Donc, il a appelé training continuum. Donc, quand on donne une instruction sur un geste donné ou une situation donnée, on a tendance à enlever une autre situation. Donc, il faudrait faire attention à ça. C'est-à-dire, quand on va parler par exemple du bloc, donc on va éliminer l'aspect service, et ainsi de suite. Donc, ensuite à cela, donc il y a l'aspect répétition. Donc, le nombre de répétitions, il est aussi conditionné par le nombre de ballons. Et donc, le nombre de ballons qui rentrent en jeu, il peut affecter le rythme. Donc, ce qui est très important à concevoir, c'est que donc, plus on ajoute, plus on augmente le volume, ou plutôt les conditions de jeu et les répétitions, donc plus on a un volume de jeu, et moins on utilise les conditions, c'est-à-dire les ballons, et donc on a moins, bien sûr, de rythme, moins de pratique, mais on peut mettre l'accent, à cette situation-là, on met l'accent sur des aspects bien précis, ou des orientations, ou des notifications. Bien, Marc.
And the last note that I want to make, and this is how we can make the difference between, or how we can make this kind of training the most effective, is by the feedback that we give and the information that we give, and that we are still focusing on some parts of practice, some parts of the game that we want to practice. So at the very beginning, we chose the theme, or what we want to work on, and that has to be the main thing that we give information, that we give feedback about, so that the players also can understand that we are not only playing, but we are learning and to understand and to play the game. So the feedback is the thing that makes all of it work together.
Donc, le dernier aspect, donc, c'est le retour sur cette séance, ou sur le travail qu'on fait, donc le feedback. Et c'est très important à mettre en place cet aspect-là, parce qu'il y a et le retour et l'information. Donc, le retour sur ce qu'on a fait, et puis il y a l'information. Donc ça, il faudrait que l'entraîneur le fasse dès le départ, donc dès le début. Donc on donne les orientations dès le début de l'entraînement, ce qu'on veut, ce qu'on attend des joueurs. Donc si vous voulez, il a mentionné un aspect très important. Donc le joueur, il est là pour apprendre, comprendre et jouer. Donc ce n'est pas seulement jouer, mais d'abord apprendre, ensuite comprendre et donc jouer. Voilà. 5 marques.
That's all I have to say. So I'm open for questions, how you want to organize it. I'm here for as long as you need me. Should I answer the questions that I can see in the Q&A?
Why not?
Yes?
Yeah.
Okay, so.
Yeah, thanks.
No problem.
Hello guys, sorry. I lost the connection.
Yes. Okay, so
okay.
the
Can
question...
we start the questions, please?
Okay. So I will answer the questions in the...
Matthew, please, are you here?
Come again, Sherif?
We have 2 questions and answers. Yes. Yes, Jules, please, we have 2 questions. Please give the questions to Mark.
Yes.
From the first question about Mo.
Yes, Mark.
Yes.
I think you have lost Sherif, but the question that the participants want to know, they ask if most club teams have less than 12 players, and training 6 versus 6 might not work for them because they have less than 12 players. They are asking for your advice how they can train with 8 players or less to make the best out of practice. Maybe I can also ask you the second question, then you can answer them together. There are a lot of things that should not be done at practice. A participant is asking, can Max Bayes mention a few of things that is on top of your list that you can advise to avoid in practice, things that they must avoid not to do in the practice? Those are the 2 questions.
Okay. The first question about the less than 12 players in practice, this is a really good point. I had this question before in the same context, that if it's a good idea to change the size of the court, and my opinion is that it's not a good idea to change the size of the court, but this is one solution. So you can play 4 against 4 is still some kind of game and reading and understanding. But my preference would be that it's difficult to do without the whiteboard, but my preference would be to play something like 3 against 5, where it's a reception, set, and attack. Can still spike against 2 blocks and 1 defense, for example. So I want to always be practicing against a spike against a double block if I have to, and defense with a block and an attack also. So in some ways, this is it can be even better to work with only 8 players. The one thing that to remember, if you always have 8 players, maybe it doesn't matter, but is that you don't have to, if you have 8 players, you practice less than if you have 12 players, because they have a lot more chances, they have a lot more repetitions. A lot of things that should not be done at practice. I don't like practice where the coach talks too much. I don't like practice where the play stops. I don't like practice where the ball finishes after the defense, for example. You can see sometimes that there is a spike and a defense, and then they catch and throw the ball back. I don't like practice where the rally finishes before the end. And I don't like when the coach talks too much. Maybe they are the most important ideas.
Donc là, il y avait 2 questions. Donc la première question, si on n'avait pas les 12 joueurs donc, pour jouer 6 contre 6, que j'ai seulement 8 joueurs ou moins de 8 joueurs, qu'est-ce qu'il faut que je dois faire? Donc Marc avait mentionné qu'à un moment donné, il y avait, cette question elle est récurrente. Et donc à un moment donné, il y avait des propositions comme quoi on doit réduire le terrain. Là, donc il mentionne qu'il faut, pour lui, il faudrait pas réduire le terrain, mais par contre, essayer de mettre des oppositions logiques, c'est-à-dire peut-être jouer 5 contre 3, et donc essayer de jouer, de faire par exemple profiter le bloc, donc bloc à 2, bloc à 3. Donc il faudrait trouver les bonnes combinaisons pour justement trouver un bon rythme. La deuxième question, donc c'était qu'est-ce qu'il préfère, qu'est-ce qu'il ne préfère pas. Donc, Marc, il dit qu'il ne préfère pas, il n'aime pas que l'entraîneur parle beaucoup dans cette session-là, session de pratique ou de jeu. Donc, il n'aime pas que le jeu s'arrête brusquement et d'une façon récurrente. Donc, il n'aime pas aussi que le ballon s'arrête après une défense. Donc, il faudrait qu'il y ait un rallye. Et donc, le plus important, c'est qu'il n'aime pas arrêter un rallye. Voilà. Yeah, Joël.
All right. Maybe just one more question. The others will probably answer. Just one more questions. Participants want to know how we can get the best out of 6 versus 6 when we use repetition competition. It's basically one of what you were showing in the video, but maybe they want some more details in terms of repetition competitions versus 6 versus 6.
I'm not sure that I understand do you mean like the question is like repetition, competition in repetitions, like some scoring.
Scoring variations.
This is so when you have serve reception exercise with some scoring system. Of course, it's better to have some scoring system if you are doing the repetitions. But my idea is that you should always serve and reception. For example, it's not the only example, but my idea is that it's best to do this in the game, because when you are doing the repetitions, you have the movement, but you are not reading, you are not moving from reception to attack or reception to cover. And I think that it's better to do 15 actions in the 6 versus 6 than to do 50 actions just one after the other. This is my opinion. This is the way that I do most of my work. So my answer is nearly always to do 6 against 6.
Donc là, la question
or whatever, however many you have. So if you don't have 6, it's 12. But...
Donc là, pour le 6 contre 6, donc la compétition dans la répétition, donc le problème de répétition, comment il faudrait faire des répétitions. Donc on a intégré le problème du système de marquage. Donc il y a plusieurs façons de faire du système de marquage. Marc ne préfère pas ça pendant la pratique, pendant le jeu compétitif ou non compétitif. Donc là, il donne l'exemple de répétition et pourquoi il préfère le 6 contre 6 et le jeu. Donc l'histoire du service-réception. Donc on peut répéter service-réception pendant une 50aine de fois, donc seulement service-réception en dehors du jeu, mais il aurait préféré faire 15 services-réception dans le système de jeu, dans le 6 contre 6, que d'en faire séparément. Pourquoi ? Parce qu'il y a plusieurs facteurs qui s'impliquent ou qui rentrent en jeu. Donc le déplacement, la continuité après le service, donc après la réception, donc il va y avoir une combinaison d'attaques, etc. Donc c'est une suite logique. Donc il est beaucoup plus adepte de ce concept-là. Ah, Sherif.
You are muted.
It's okay now?
Yeah.
One of the questions, I think it's very important, that from Amadou, Senegal. Do you agree with the idea that all the practice sessions should be, using with the concept of game-like?
I play games every day. So I play what I described is my practice every day. Sometimes if I have a professional team, then in the beginning of the week, the first day maybe is no competition, and then later is more competition. But more or less, it's this same every day with some changes. There was a question also about first and second 6. If you don't practice a lot with the first 6, it's correct that the first 6 doesn't work. It doesn't make the small improvements with the first 6. this is true. But my experience is that for the motivation of the group and the other players, that it's important that the other players feel that they are part of the team and that they can be ready if they have to play. So for this reason, I like to change the teams. But often I will have the idea that I want the receivers, the starting receivers, to work with the libero, or the middles and the setter together. So it's not just random, it's always some idea. And when we are closer to the game, then I will play the first 6 the day before the game, or if it's a really important game, maybe 2 days before the game.
Okay,
Joel, please, Mohammed, before continue, Joel, please prepare the next question, please.
Donc là, il y a deux questions. La première question, est-ce que vous préférez donc la pratique ou l'entraînement en donc game-like, donc en situation de jeu. Donc Marc a répondu qu'il travaille ça tous les jours. Donc tous les jours, il fait ces situations de jeu. Peut-être avec les équipes professionnelles qui a entraîné peut-être le premier jour, parce que ça sera donc une récupération, il ne le fait pas. Mais sinon, il est adepte de ce système de fonctionnement. La deuxième question était comment, c'est-à-dire que vous avez dit il a dit que il fait tourner les 6 contre 6, donc il ne fait jamais jouer les 6 titulaires contre les 6 remplaçants. Donc là, l'idée, c'est de motiver les athlètes, de motiver les joueurs, et donc de faire sentir aux remplaçants qu'ils font partie du jeu, de l'équipe, et qu'ils peuvent faire la différence à tout moment. Mais le plus important, c'est que ce n'est pas aussi bête que ça. Donc, dans ce changement, dans cette tournante, il fait attention à la combinaison des bloqueurs, des centraux, combinaisons libéraux, etc. Donc, il y a quand même une, on va dire, c'est harmonieux. Donc, il y a quand même une certaine logique derrière ça. Yes, Joel.
Mark,
yes.
there is one question from Cedric. He is asking, how often would you rotate players, especially when training tactics in 6 versus 6 situation in a session? You got the question?
Yes, I can see the question. I want to change the players fast enough that the ones who are attacking don't get too tired, and that the ones who are in defense, they don't get cold. So you change quite fast, maybe every 3 or 4 minutes even, if you are working like this. And when we have the games with serve, then, for example, a lot of the time we don't rotate normal for this same reason. So we don't go rotate setter in 1, 6, 5 and go like this, but we can play one game in 2 rotations. So setter in 6 and setter in 3, so that the players are not a long time in the back row or a long time in the front row. So they are changing back and front quite often. And maybe this is good connection with the question from Tulani about the intensity in the video. In the video was a presentation for coaches, so I was stopping and explaining a lot. But normally the ball comes one after the other, and 20 minutes of this work is the players are sweating, they are working a lot.
Donc, il y a 2 questions. La première question dans cette histoire dans ce fonctionnement de 6 contre 6, Donc, comment il faisait les rotations, donc de sorte qu'il puisse donner du rythme. Donc là, sur le système de rotation, donc à chaque fois pour qu'il n'y ait pas de fatigue, pour que les joueurs qui sont en attaque ne se refroidissent pas, ne sont pas fatigués et que les défenseurs ne se refroidissent pas. Donc, chaque 2-3 minutes, il fait un changement, un switch. Et par contre, il y a aussi une deuxième façon de travailler, c'est qu'il n'est pas obligé dans ce jeu, dans ce système de jeu, il n'est pas obligé de faire des rotations traditionnelles. Donc 1, 5, 1, 6, 5, etc. Donc il peut faire dans un jeu, dans un set, il peut jouer sur 2 rotations seulement. Donc en faisant bouger le passeur, La deuxième question, c'était sur l'intensité par rapport à la vidéo. Donc, ils ont dit que bon, là, ça s'arrêtait, ça parlait beaucoup. Et donc, là, il a mentionné que pour la vidéo, c'était donc une séance avec les entraîneurs qui étaient dans les tribunes. Et donc, il expliquait, il faisait l'exercice, il expliquait. Mais par contre, dans la réalité, les ballons viennent très rapidement, donc un ballon après l'autre. Et donc, les athlètes arrivent à suivre. Yes, Joel.
Joel, next question, please.
Yes, one question from Sori Kamara. I agree with you that reading and scouting the opponent good, but during the match, who is responsible for scouting? Is the head coach or assistant coach? You got the question?
Yes, yeah. I don't see it, but I understand it. In the preparation for the match, we do a lot of work together, the staff members, but normally every coach is a little bit different. I like to have one assistant coach who is watching the setter and the attack of the other team, and I like to have one coach who is watching the serving of the other team, so that we can organize our block, and second, so we can organize our reception. And I will be looking at hopefully everything.
Donc la question qui se pose, c'est que qui c'est pendant le match, qui c'est qui est responsable? Est-ce que vous responsabilisez, est-ce que l'entraîneur en chef ou les assistants? Donc Marc, il fonctionne ainsi. Donc il préfère travailler en équipe. Donc pendant la préparation, donc ils sont en concertation ensemble avec ses assistants. Et donc il préfère donner des tâches à ses assistants. Par exemple, un assistant qui va observer le passeur, donc le passeur et l'attaque, l'autre qui va essayer d'analyser le service. Et donc, en fin de compte, c'est à lui comme entraîneur en chef d'harmoniser tout ça et de synchroniser tout ça. Yes, Joel.
There's one more question from Islam. How to teach players to train their eyes to see and read same thing, the same situation?
So it's a really good question because it seems simple, but this is about the feedback that you give the players and also what you are watching. So what you have to be showing them what they must look at. So in the video, you can hear me talking about watching the setter's hands. So then when I am talking, when I am watching the play, I don't watch the ball or the spiker. I am watching the blockers to see if they are watching the setter's hands. So this is the first part. If I make sure that they are all watching the same thing, then that is the first thing, because the setter's hand is the setter's hand, and if everybody is watching the setter's hand, the decision is clear after that. But when the match is going, when everything is moving fast and the eyes, people are looking everywhere, the point is to focus on what they have to look at And when you're the coach, you have to be the same. You have to be watching that thing that you want them to pay attention to.
Donc, la question, c'est comment il faut entraîner les gens, les athlètes à la lecture. Donc, tout simplement, il faudrait mettre en place un système de telle façon que donc, je dois leur inculquer cette compétence comme je fais mon analyse pendant l'entraînement. Donc, quand je veux me concentrer sur, par exemple, le bras de l'attaquant, donc c'est ce que je veux et pas, on va dire, pas l'élan d'attaque. Donc, ça sera, donc, je demande à mes athlètes, par exemple, le cas du passeur, donc, ne regardez pas la main du passeur, mais beaucoup plus concentrez-vous, par exemple, sur le bloqueur. Et surtout, ce qui est vrai, c'est que pendant le match, tout arrive d'une façon brutale et rapide. Et donc, il faudrait essayer de prendre le maximum d'informations par rapport à cela. Donc, il faudrait se concentrer sur ce qu'on veut regarder. Voilà.
Okay. I think there's one more question that Grady want to know. When you are training 6 versus 6 every day, he wants to know, do you have specific day, maybe for training, block, attack, setting of backcourt defense, or you always combine the training every day?
The simple answer is that I always combine. Oh, okay. There is some days I will do one short. It can be one short part for only for blocking or only for attack, but in practice this is never more than 15 minutes, and it's just to create an idea or to reinforce an idea that we go then to the 6 with 6 or the 12 players on the court. But for example, defense, I never practice defense except in 6 against 6. So I only practice defense with the setter, with the block, and with the counter attack.
Donc la question est, est-ce que Marc a des journées spécifiques pour faire travailler peut-être un composant, donc la défense séparément. Donc Marc, il dit qu'il ne fait jamais ça, donc il travaille toujours dans ce concept. Par contre, il peut travailler, donc par exemple le bloc, pas plus de 15 minutes. C'est juste pour justement renforcer une idée ou un concept, mais il ne pourra jamais excéder les 15 minutes. Par contre, il ne travaille jamais, rend jamais la défense de cette façon-là. Donc la défense, ça se travaille en groupe, donc en 6 contre 6. Mike. Yes, Mike.
Yes, Sherif, I think the questions...
Yes. Okay, Joel. Mohammed, please. We have 3 questions in French, in questions and answers. One from Wadamar from Algeria. Préparation de l'équipe
pour le money time.
Yeah. Could you please translate in English?
Great. That's great.
Preparing the team for money time. Yeah. I can speak all the languages.
Good.
I don't do any special exercise for money time. We have a lot of competition, and so they are practicing competition. But I never do an exercise that is just for 24 or something like this. I will try to make some pressure in practice with some high ball that you must score, but that is the only thing that I do.
Donc, pour la préparation, plutôt le money time, donc il ne travaille jamais, il ne donne jamais d'exercice dans ce sens. Pourquoi? Parce qu'il y a plusieurs compétitions, donc il y a plusieurs matchs à jouer, donc les joueurs s'adaptent. Et puis donc le deuxième paramètre, c'est qu'au lieu de travailler ça, il préfère mettre les joueurs sous pression. Donc il préfère donner d'autres instructions pour mettre les athlètes sous pression. Yes.
Mohamed, please, the next question, please. From
yes,
Taj.
bien vouloir nous réexpliquer l'aspect répétition. So we need to just, if you can repeat the repetition aspect, the concept of repetition.
So when I'm talking about repetition, or when we are talking about repetition, we are talking normally about doing many actions one after the other. So the simple, or one example is for the setter working alone with the coach and to set 100 balls. This is the kind of this is repetition, and this is the kind of work that I don't do very much. Is this the answer? Is this correct? That's the question.
Donc cette histoire de répétition. Donc là, il parlait de répétition dans le sens où donc il y a un ballon qui vient après l'autre, ou une action après l'autre. Et donc il a donné l'exemple du passeur. Quand un passeur travaille avec l'entraîneur, enfin il a son entraîneur, et donc il fait pratiquement une centaine de répétitions, une centaine de balles. Donc Marc n'est pas adepte de ce concept. Yes, Sherif.
I think we have only 4 minutes, and maybe we can take the last question till Dr. Elwani join us. One coach asking for when the best time to work with individual players or specific training without interfering with the system of 6 versus 6.
The answer to that is probably in a different time. So just before practice or just after practice to work. Just for setters, for example, it can be good to work in the warm-up so that they can do some individual practice in the warm-up. You can see a lot in different places. Receivers will also use the warm-up time to do some individual work. If you have the chance to have the gym in a different time and to work with 1 or 2 players at a time, then this is also a good option. But during the warm-up or the end of practice is really good time for this kind of work.
Donc la question là qui se posait, c'était par rapport à au travail individuel. Où est-ce qu'il peut placer le travail individuel pour un joueur? Et donc la réponse est telle que donc il préfère que ça soit avant ou après l'entraînement, mais pas durant l'entraînement. Donc il peut même tirer profit de l'échauffement. Donc la période d'échauffement, on peut faire justement un travail individuel, comme le cas du passeur par exemple. Yes, Chief.
Okay, I think at the end we are waiting for Dr. Elwani but I think we can thank everybody. I would like to thank Mark for the valuable session today, and also I would like to thank all other brothers, Mohammed and Matthew, Hisham, Enzo, Tariq, and also Waida. I would like also to thank Dr. Elwani about his support. I think we are doing a good job for developing volleyball. Thank you, all of you. And next week, we will have another surprise. And I hope everybody will join us. And thank you, Mark. I hope next time maybe we can prepare for another session later. We will talk about that to give us more information for African coaches. Thank you.
Je tiens juste à remercier donc tous les participants. Et donc, en l'occurrence, donc, le président de la Confédération, Dr Amr, plus donc Marc. Voilà, donc, et on espère revoir Marc dans les sessions à venir avec d'autres informations pour le bien de nos entraîneurs.
And so thank you very much to Sherif for the invitation. It was a great pleasure to have this opportunity. I hope that I can, in the future, I can meet you all in person. The volleyball world is small. I'm sure we will see each other. Please come and say hello to me whenever we meet. And also, very great thanks to Mohammed for the translation. I think that he did an incredible job. I think he did an incredible job. It sounded like
I'm
French.
I'm not sure. I'm waiting for the feedback.
But
Okay,
thank
guys.
you very much, everybody.
Thank you.
Thank you, Jill. Thank you.
Okay.
And see you later.
Thank you.
Bye-bye. Okay.
Bye, guys.
Bye.
Bye.
Okay.
Thank you.